Write the Docs 2024. It's finally happened. Yeah. All right, so great to have you all here, folks. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Jared Morgan. I am the de facto MC and voice of Write the Docs Australia. It's my pleasure to be doing this now for, I think, nearly 3 or 4 conferences, whether virtual or in person, and it's an honour every single time to do it and be in front of you and sort of keep everything running. So I'm really, really grateful and thankful to be here today. So first of all, I just want to go and do some housekeeping with you all today before we kick off. So we'll start that now. First of all, land acknowledgement, of course. So in the spirit of reconciliation, Write the Docs Australia acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. Okay, so as promised, there is a little bit of logistics that I'll cover off, just so everyone knows where everything is and we're all feeling comfortable. So first of all, restrooms, very important. You can find the restrooms both in the auditorium, just up the back of stage there. The toilets are marked on the door, so you'll find them there. There's also restrooms out in the main foyer area. Also in the unconference areas, that's where you'll actually find off to the side, it's the Price Hall, and you'll find that's where we're doing the unconference sessions over there as well. Unconference sessions, if you're not familiar with Write the Docs, they run in parallel to the mainstream on stage here. And it's an opportunity for anyone to sort of pitch an idea, and then if anyone goes, well, that sounds really interesting, we'll go up there as well and participate in the unconference. So all the videos and everything you're seeing today are actually being recorded in the spirit of Write the Docs, which is table stakes for how we do things here if you haven't been to a conference before. So you can sort of go off and feel confident that you won't miss out on anything if you'd like to do that. And the last thing is the snacks and everything. Again, up in that foyer area, you'll see that throughout the day. Tea, coffee, snacks. Head up to the back and do a bit of mingling up there. But for now, that's the end for me, but it's definitely not the end for the introduction. I'd like to welcome on stage Swapnil Ogale, who will be taking us out for the rest of the intro. So please make him welcome, folks.
All right. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah. That's good. All right, so just flick through the slides. And I think I missed one. Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So it's good to see everyone back. I know we've had COVID years where we went online, and I think we did a good job of keeping this online. But I think the in-person on-site works much better. Show of hands if that is true. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. We'll convert the others. Don't worry about that. So what are we doing here? This is a question we ask ourselves every single year. Like. It's a community conference. We're trying to do something with the documentation community in Australia. I know, unfortunately, quite a few other conferences this year were actually cancelled, like around UX and web design and stuff like that. So we just want to make sure we keep going. We have a community, a tribe for people who actually want to share their experiences and knowledge. So that's what we're doing here. And like I said, it's a community conference, so it's the people here that actually make this what it is. It's it's all of you sharing experiences, coming to our meetups, coming to our conferences, participating in the Slack channels. So it's a very much a community conference. And who's here? So this is one of those things that a lot of people outside Write the Docs, they're like, we're not sure if we belong here because we're not tech writers, but the good news is you don't have to be a tech writer to be a part of this community. And the reason we say that is we are everyone. We are in DevOps, we are designers, we are writers, we're developers, we're testers. So as anyone who's got a passion for technical writing, documentation, making things better for our end users, could be support, could be product, could be DevOps, marketing, anyone is a documentarian for our community. And that's what we welcome everyone here. Job titles are secondary unless you're actually negotiating with your manager for a good pay. Other than that, I think job titles are really secondary. It's what we do, it's what keeps us passionate, is what we are here for. And that's what the whole community is about. It's the documentarians. Still blows my mind that This is our 7th Australian conference. So we've actually, punched way above our weight with this. We've had our 11th Portland conference earlier this year, our 10th Atlantic one. And we're not far back behind that. We're 7th this year with our conferences, so we're doing well. So give yourselves a round of applause. We're doing really well with our conferences in Australia. It's a small community, but it is, like I said, all of the people here make it what it is, and that's very delightful. We have no idea what we're doing again because we ran into some tech issues, we ran into some other challenges with registration, and it's a new space again for us. So every year it feels like year one. So we've done this 7 times, but every year feels like year one for us because we've literally got no idea what we're doing every year. Yeah, so your job here now, this is the important bit. Make sure there's a couple of things when you're here as a community, you're participating in the conference. Your job's pretty clear. You make friends here. You learn something, you have fun. And that's the whole spirit of Ride the Docks is when you're out here, just leave aside all your worries at work. Just be here, be present, participate. There are many avenues where we can do this. There's the lightning talks, there's the unconferences, and I'll walk through them in a minute. But there are many avenues for you to actually share, to learn from people around you. And how we act in this community, and like I said before, this community has been really great. It's how we act is what this community is about. It's it's welcoming, it's open, it's supportive and positive. So people who were here yesterday or we caught up over Slack or whatever, we actually discussed how this community, Cameron, I'm looking at you. How does this community differ from other sort of tech writing communities around in Australia and elsewhere? And I think this is what sets us apart. We're very welcoming, we are open, and I think I'm pretty sure people here would agree. If you've been to one of our Ride the Docks events before, you would agree with most of this is, it's pretty open, it's supportive, and it's positive. Who's heard of the Pac-Man rule before? If you've been to one of our conferences, you would have. So it's not a human-eating monster, by the way. It's just when you're standing as a group, and this is what Eric Holcher, one of the co-founders of Ride the Docks, he's come up with this rule with all of our events, is when you're standing as a group of people, you always leave room for one more person. So when you're standing maybe 4, just leave room for one more person. So, it just makes it a little bit more inclusive. People don't feel I have to force myself way into a conversation. There are already people talking about something and I can easily join in. I know it will be welcoming. So remember that for the next couple of days, it'll really help. And then there's a snowball rule too. For every year that you've attended, we encourage you to meet a new person, one new person every day. So given that this is probably my 11th, so that's a long task for me for the next couple of days at a conference. And again, all the presenters here, all the staff, the volunteers, we're not anything special. We are like you. We are part of the community. So you have permission to meet everyone or anyone who is here, but you also have the permission to maintain your mental health. And the reason I say this is because you could be here on the stage next year presenting, or you could be a part of the staff, you could be volunteering for one of our events. So, you have permission to meet anyone, ask them questions, have a chat with them. We've got a bit of a photo policy, and I think that sort of, just more common sense than anything. Ask before you take a screenshot of any live sessions that you're part of. Screenshots of talks are okay, and not everyone's willing to publish their photos. So I guess inadvertently everyone will get photographed at some point, but if you do not want your photos to be published, just make sure you're wearing a red lanyard. We'll have some out at registration. If you do not want your photos to be published on any of the social media, just make sure you've got a red lanyard, so that helps Darren with filtering out people who do not want to be published. Yeah, and code of conduct. We have this pretty much at all of our events, regardless of whether they are virtual or in person. It's pretty much a minimum. It's it applies to all of our spaces. So we follow a standard process. So if you think that people are just being pardon the language, dickheads. But if you think they're doing something they shouldn't be doing in a conference space like this, make sure you reach out to one of the staff. We've got a standard process. We keep the reporter's name confidential, but we make sure we take cognizance of the fact that we want this to be a very positive experience for everyone who's attending. So like I said, talk to an organizer. You can also email our email address. And if you're not sure whether if it's a code of conduct issue, just let us know anyway. So end of the conference, we do a report. And we usually include any code of conduct or stuff like that. So just that people are aware. Like I said, it's a very open community. We want to make sure everyone's treated properly. Which brings me to a little bit of a spiel on what the state of the Ride the Dogs Australia looks like as a community. So if you look globally at Ride the Dogs as a community, we've now run conferences across Portland, Atlantic, and Australia. It used to be Prague, an in-person conference in Prague every year, but that's now moved to online. It's now an Atlantic online conference so that it caters to a large part of US East Coast and Europe, and also some parts of Africa and Middle East sort of areas. And then we've got this Australian conference too. And we've got meetups across 5 continents. So if you jump onto the Ride the Dogs website, the meetups page, you'll see meetups posted for any city. Like, you're probably in that city for work, and there might be a meetup. You can join in. You don't need to, register or anything. You just rock up on the day pretty much. We've got about 23,000 Slack members. That's a pretty big community. I remember when I joined, there was like maybe about 5,000 or 6,000. So that's grown like 6 times that, if I can do my maths properly. And monthly newsletters too. Like, we sent out monthly newsletters, just a good collection of articles from across our community, people contributing their experiences. And you can sign up to the newsletter as well. So distilling it down to the Australian community, we've got about over 1,000 members now. And when I say that, that number's pretty much based on the fact that we run meetups across Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane in person, but we also have online events. So people, if we have an online event at lunchtime on our East Coast, it's pretty much, people from US and other parts of the world can also join in. So we've got a good number of members. I'd love to see that, because it'll pretty much fill up this space and we'll have to move to a new space then. But we would love to see a lot of those members be actually present at our conferences at some point. Slack numbers are growing pretty steadily as well. And again, there's a lot of chatter on job posts, and things are happening around in the Australian market. We've covered over 70 events in the last 7 years, which is pretty outstanding for a community this size. I think that's pretty good. And 6 annual conferences. Like I said, this is our 7th one. So yeah, well done again, everyone. And yeah, thanks for being a part of the community. I will have this out on the Slack channel, but if you haven't seen this, we've got our annual Ride the Dogs salary survey up at the moment. So it's taking submissions. Make sure you submit, because I've found it's a really good, valuable tool for people to actually negotiate, to make sure they know they're getting paid correctly for what the kind of work and efforts that they're putting in. So the survey is probably close end of the year, so we've still got another few weeks to put your submissions in, but we'd love to see more Australian data in there. Last year we had quite a good amount of data in there, but the more the merrier. Which brings us to this conference overview. How are we doing for time? I think we're good. Jared, yeah, we're good? Yeah. So yeah, like Jared pointed out before with logistics, we've got 2 days of wide-ranging content. If you've had a look at the schedule, it's all out there. We've got plenty of, amazing talks happening over the next couple of days. We've got a moderated Q&A after each speaker. So this is a new one. Like, we started this during the online years at COVID, because prior to COVID, we used to only have the talks and that was it. We didn't have any Q&As. But we found people really wanted to engage with the speaker when they had questions, they wanted to clarify something. So at the end of each talk, we'll pull out our special chairs. Did we get the chairs in? Yeah, we did. So we'll pull out our special chairs. Jared will host the Q&A, and with the speaker, we'll have about 10 minutes of Q&As at the end of each talk. And like Jared, it's all recorded. It'll all be on YouTube in a couple of weeks from now. All of these talks plus the Q&As. And the other thing we also did, and we're really proud about this. I'm particularly very proud about this, is the sketch noting. So if you've been to one of our conferences before, even if it's Portland or Atlantic, you would have seen people actually have sketch notes done of every talk. Proud to say that is an Australian first. We actually started that in online, and it's gone worldwide. Everyone now expects, as part of the Ride the Dogs conference, that there will be sketch notes. So we've got Harriet here who will be doing live sketch notes, and you should see her magic. She actually does live sketch noting, and we'll put it up on the screen between talks as well. You'll actually see not only the end result, but you'll also see the process. I think that's correct. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we've got live sketch notes happening of every talk, and lightning talks as well. Unconference. So this is, again, something that we pride ourselves on. It's not everyone wants to be in a room every time. Like, there might be a couple of talks. People are like, yeah, I don't think I'll get something out of this, so I might just, go and spend some time somewhere else. Why not turn it to an advantage? We've got a unconference space outside, so it's an unstructured format. They work in 30-minute blocks. So if there's a particular topic you want to talk about or discuss with your peers here and the network, put your name out there on the butcher paper out there on this. I don't know if you've got a whiteboard yet, but the butcher paper outside, put your name up there, and if people are interested, all you have to do is rock up at the table at that time. So we'll start unconferences both the days after the first coffee break. They will run in parallel with the main talk. So if you do not want to attend the talk, you can go to the unconference space and have a chat with some people there. And again, sign-up sessions for you might want to go. So there's two ways it works. You actually put your name down if you want to lead a session. So let's say you want to talk about X tool or something that you use for documentation. Maybe there are a few other people interested. So put your name to lead down the unconference, and someone will just, if they are interested, they'll join you at the table. There's no need to sign up. You just need to, if you're leading a session, put your name down. People will just join you if they're interested. So lightning talks is, again, this is really fun. Like, I think a lot of people who attended Write the Docs before, they've actually enjoyed this. And some of our speakers this year and even last year, they've actually now, here on the stage doing a full-blown talk because they actually started off with the lightning talk. They're like, oh, it's not too bad. The community is really nice. They didn't throw anything at us while we were on the stage. So you will do it for 5 minutes. We might as well do it for 30 minutes. So this is your way to actually, if you're not the kind of person who wants to get up on the stage and talk about something, 5 minutes, muster up the courage, come up on the stage, propose a topic, and you'll be out here just, talking for 5 minutes about things that you're passionate about. We used to have lightning talks on both the days, but for this year, we're just doing it for the day one, and I'll walk through the next slide of why that is. And again, there are options for new and experienced speakers. If you've done it before, you can put your name in. If you haven't done it before, you can still put your name in, and we'll draw up 3 or 4 people, and we'll do lightning talks after lunch today. So on the second day, we've just turned things around a little bit. Sometimes people are like, yeah, I don't know if I've got an idea for a lightning talk. Maybe I do, but I don't know if people want to hear me for 5 minutes. So we just made job a little bit easier for you. This year, we've got something called as Tales from the Trenches or War Stories. So it's basically, we've got 3 broad topics for you, and Felicity will run through that later on. But again, it's similar to a lightning talk, but we've actually made the job easier for you. We've got a couple of topics already in mind. So if you want to talk about it, pick one, and you'll be up on the stage talking about it. So it's more of a war story. I think we're talking about AI. There's a thing about tech writing fails. We want to hear about what didn't work for you in an AI tool. It's not about the other way around, because it's been done to that AI. So we want to hear about what doesn't work for you. And then there's also stuff around, when have you actually failed at something with tech writing or documentation or whatever it might be. So we want to hear some real stories. Food and drinks, like Jared mentioned before, during the breaks in the price hall in the foyer outside. You can also venture out into the neighborhood. If you're coming from outside Melbourne, there's plenty of options around here for food and drink. You won't go hungry. We've got food covered, but if you think you need a better bubble tea or coffee, there's a million places around here that you can get that. And 60-minute lunch break and 20-minute morning and afternoon breaks. Social event. So again, I think a lot of you have already RSVP'd to that, so thanks for doing that. We've got a social event where we chat about, we just unwind at the end of day 1 today. It's hosted at the Oxford Scholar, so it's about a 3-minute walk this way. And it's from 5 to 7 today. And even if you haven't RSVP'd for that, that's fine. You can still join us. We've got room there. So there'll be drinks and alcoholic and non-alcoholic plus some nibbles until our tab runs out. Make sure you bring your badge, though, so that the bartender knows that they're serving the right people. So special thanks to everyone who's actually made this event possible. All our speakers, you'll hear from all of them today. And tomorrow, we've got workshops. We've got featured speakers as well, so I'm looking forward to all of this for the next couple of days. An event like this doesn't happen without sponsors, so we've got Atlassian, Google, and Linux Australia this year, and thank you again for your support. Atlassian's been our big sponsors for support right from the first year, and even Google. Linux Australia, we're really excited to work with them this year as well, because it's a community as well for people who are into the open source side of things. So thank you again for our sponsors. This is our team, so I just wanted to give a big round of applause to everyone. Bring the team on tomorrow, but we've got people from everywhere in Australia joining us, helping us out, and even from overseas. So Eric, Mikey, Samuel, and Sasha, they do all the technical side of things and budgets, so that helps us, I guess. But it's also, the teams from, we've got Brisbane covered, Adelaide, Melbourne. We'd love to see people from the West Coast at some point as well. So stay in touch. We've got a few avenues. If you're not on the Slack, I strongly suggest get onto the Slack channel. That's where a lot of those conversations happen. You can email us. You can find out about the newsletter. So yeah, thank you, and enjoy the conference. Thank you very much.